What's good, Council of Comics? We're at The Last of Us, episode number 8. It's going crazy! Let's go!
Black is like the brightest day. Where are the heroes? Soon as they get here, everything will be alright. I need a hero. Someone superhuman who can come and save my life. Crisis after crisis.
Okay, I just wanted to say one thing before am I the only one first that liked Kathleen and then you kind of liked the cannibal? You knew he was a cannibal right off, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew something was terribly wrong with him right off. And then that kitchen
Well, no,
scene
the way that
where
they
like,
played
it's venison. The way he said it's venison,
yeah.
I was like, oh, it's cannibalism.
It's really
It's
funny.
cannibalism.
And I think I was talking to you, Phil, about this, as I didn't even catch that. Like, I knew something was weird about that conversation. And then immediately, as soon as she throws the food, I'm like, oh, like it all, the tumblers
I
fell into
thought
place.
talking
the
about
meat
how
was
they're
like
low on
really,
food.
really bloody.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not real meat.
And also the way that when he was like, he's like, how are we on food? The meat, you know, the deer, the beef, the venison, the rabbit, and something else.
Elk.
The way he elk, right? The way he talked to him, and then later on when they meet Ellie, and he's like, go and get the penicillin. This isn't code. Listen to me. And I was like, this isn't code. And I was like, oh my god, the elk, the venison, the rabbit is code.
When they were all in the dining room eating, and I knew because I played the game, and I was just like, "Oh man, this is like so horrible."
Well,
if you
that's
played
what-
Some
this
of the
scene.
people looked like they were not enjoying it, right?
No, they felt no, they didn't look like they were enjoying it, and you know they ate that little girl's daddy. It was
Oh, yeah, that was the whole
horrible.
point. They couldn't
Oh
go,
my
"I can't bury
god!
him, can't
When
bury
can
him
I bury
until
my
spring."
father? Never, girl. You ate him last night. This is horrible.
I didn't, and the funny part is that once I realized what they were eating, I flashed back to the previous scene where they're sitting down and eating, and he comes back and says the whole speech about, I think it's not the one where he slaps the little girl.
No, he does this. Yeah, he slaps her in that same scene when he comes
No,
back.
but there's this.
Yeah, the speech before he slaps her.
Yeah, but he does this whole speech about, maybe my train of thought about how we're all in this together or whatever, and it makes this rah speech,
Yeah.
and then sits down and starts eating like it's no big deal. I'm like,
After-
you know what's in there.
after
You're
he
one
slapped
of the
the
few
girl.
people in this room that know what's in there.
Well, apparently
Oh,
this guy was
that creeped me out.
this guy was the ultimate super monster. Religious fanatic.
Well, let's
Wait.
not cast aspersions on religious fanatics. That was one of my problems with this episode.
You know what? I knew
it's
that was going to happen.
It's such an easy trope to say that Christians and people who believe in have any kind of faith are shitty people, and then you automatically extrapolate that to
The
the
other
extreme.
people aren't
cannibal.
shitty.
Well,
He's the shitty
No,
one.
not just cannibalism, but it's an easy trope in television and shows now.
I understand what he's saying.
It's easy to make them the villain now,
Yeah.
and, and you automatically jump to that.
You know,
You think I'm a villain?
I
I'm a
would
Christian.
Not,
I'll
you
say
know
it-
what?
I'll say it 1,000 times.
I wouldn't know of what you're talking about, Ronaldo. I've never experienced that in my community. There's no such thing as bury the gays. So anyhow, of course I understand the trope. I'm sorry.
So we make it okay by doing that, though.
No, of course he'll make it okay, but
That's
but he was like a real villain. Number one, okay, first of all,
And
okay.
he said he didn't find God until after the.
And that was bullshit, because when he finally reveals his predatory pedophile self to Ellie, he admits to her he doesn't believe any of this shit. So he's the worst kind, okay? He doesn't have any real faith backing it up. He just used all of this to manipulate the situation to play father.
To all of them.
I'll give you that.
And to top it off, then when shit got tough, he's like, well, fuck it, I'm not beneath cannibalism. So that's my point. That's what makes him the ultimate villain in the series so far.
Having said that, is it so horrible that they practice cannibalism if the people were going to starve?
Listen,
Listen,
the
Donner,
thing
this
is,
is Donner Party.
listen, right, this is not, first of all, it's not the Donner Party. Second of all, it wasn't,
rugby players in the Andes.
they
make it a
didn't
point-
take
they
a
make it a
vote.
point-
They didn't even take a
I
vote.
know that
He
people
just did it
don't
behind his
know.
back. There,
People
people
don't
that know.
but also that's the idea. It's like only a few select people know what they're doing because they don't want to freak everybody out. And the thing is they don't have, it's like eat a vegetable, but they don't have vegetables or anything. They said they had nothing.
Yeah.
They said nothing would grow. And they didn't have anything. So the presentation of the dead guy is kind of fortuitous for the group, right? Like if they could,
But still,
because he said he didn't like doing it either. He said this is what he was.
I
given
know,
to.
but do you think Do you think I
He
really
got
believe
over it
everything coming?
really quickly.
Yeah, he got over it very quick. I didn't really believe everything coming out of him, you know. And
However, don't you think, kind of like the governor on The Walking Dead, they cast a guy who was affable. He's like a likable guy,
almost.
right?
I,
And that's
well,
why
I didn't even.
Yeah, because throughout the episode, I'm like, is he bad?
It wasn't the governor
Because
that
he
yeah,
did not.
You're
In
right.
the beginning, right? He really did do all the stuff. He brought Ellie back, right? You know,
Yes.
after she got knocked off the horse, he told, "Don't kill her." You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
do what you got to do, but don't kill her. Capture her, and then. You know, the other thing was, it's like, yeah, we got to get the other guy though.
Yeah.
Like Joel's got to go.
For me,
I-
Kansas City lady is the closest to the governor.
Yes.
In my opinion, of these characters.
I correlate him more with Negan, where right or wrong, whether you love or hate Negan, Negan's whole purpose, whether you love or hate this guy, obviously he's horrifically flawed. I'm not defending him. His whole purpose is to get his group of people, keep them alive.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not telling them everything because he knows that if he does, everyone's going to scatter. So it's I'm going to keep this group of people alive by any means necessary, whether you like my rules or not. We're all kind of agreeing to them, and at the back end of this, we're all going to be alive. That being said, I obviously don't like his choices, but Negan did the same thing. He was very iron-fisted, but it was
Yeah, but
all
also,
with
like,
the idea that I'm gonna.
The television show and the comic book are different though, because in the comic book, like Negan doesn't understand that what he is doing is so horrendous and horrible. He's just doing what he needs to do, and he is. He's
Yeah.
in a way providing for everybody. But this character is different, right? Because he's like, I know what I am,
And he
You know?
right, and he
He's
wants
like,
to
yeah.
control.
He found
know?
he found what he.
Yeah.
Could
So
do.
like, you know, again, a great villain, you know, and an immediate double threat, you know. Ellie stands alone in this episode. I was pretty happy with that.
Ellie made a mistake.
Yeah.
She tried to grab the keys from him.
I wouldn't call that a mistake.
But
That's just
no,
that's just the
it's-
storytelling.
Ellie! Ellie's the one who broke your fucking finger.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
That was her name, right? But she could have.
I still hope that
shouldered
made it into the show.
Shouldered that, broke
Yeah.
his hand
Mhm.
still, and grabbed the keys, right? But like
Yeah.
she
Well,
gave
here's
him the
the prob-
opportunity to pull.
Even if she
her
gets the
forward.
keys, though, what's she gonna do? He's just gonna wait outside
Stand there.
until she opens the door.
Stand
Yeah,
there.
no,
But
I
But she didn't. She would have
really
broken his arm.
I
with his hand at
really
that point, too.
appreciated her tactics. This because you know it's kind of like how do you write a story about a young girl, right? There's two men who can easily overpower her. How do you write a story where she stands alone, where she defends herself, where she gets to be her own hero, and using the "I'm infected" was so brilliant.
Well, that
Right?
also-
I don't-
And then-
Walking Dead did that too. Remember?
I don't know. It looks pretty real to me.
What's his
Now-
name? Herschel was infected, and they took his leg and they started eating it, and he was like, "Ha ha ha!"
No,
They're like, "What are you
Bob.
laugh-" Oh, Bob.
Bob, it was Bob.
Oh, in the show.
Yes.
In the comic
In
book,
the show
it was
was Bob.
Herschel.
Yeah, you're right.
In the comic book, it was Herschel.
So-
Herschel got his leg eaten, and he starts laughing on the and he's on a picnic table, right? And they're cutting him up and they're eating him, and then he starts laughing, and they're like, "What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "Tainted meat."
Tainted meat.
Yeah.
So
So
It's
wait,
like it's
wait.
Bob
Phil
Dylan
and
thing.
Joe, you've been quiet
yeah,
over
the
there.
first guy who takes the
What's
cleaver,
going
that's
on?
the voice of Joel, right?
That is the voice
Right,
of Joel.
it's Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going
He talked
crazy.
about how
I
good
tried
Joel
to get
was.
in.
I know. I heard everything. Come on,
Being
come
the
on,
voice
come
of
on.
Joel to being
Just
this
speak
character.
over
Go
them.
ahead, Joey.
Speak over them.
Speak over them.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's
You
gonna
gotta
be a
show
good
dominance
video.
with Cliff.
Establish dominance.
Listen, it was a great episode.
I liked it a lot. It was a
was-
great episode, and it followed the game very closely. Like that part where she breaks her finger is like my favorite part of the game, and
The
I'm
horse.
so
Right.
glad. Yeah, the
horse?
horse.
Yeah.
The other thing
Shooting,
is they
shooting the
talk
horse.
about cordyceps, right? They're like cordyceps is.
Yeah. What
is-
did he? Was he like saying that?
Oh, he talked about the one with reference. You know, it's clear that this man, his real faith was the cordyceps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Was that his faith, the cordyceps? Like,
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, they
No,
do
but I mean,
everything.
that was it like it did. It showed like what you're supposed to do, right? It takes.
That
care
was
of
his
its
model.
young.
It was,
Yeah,
right.
his monologue was-
It defends them.
And
No,
what
this.
was really cool was it made the cordyceps actually like a little like the idea. If you really think about it, it's like that's kind of scary, and that's what I liked about this episode too. They scared you, and at no point was there any of those creatures. You didn't see anybody with cordyceps,
Right.
and they only teased when they were hunting the deer. You heard the
Yeah, you heard
the
the
clicking
whistle, right?
sound,
Yeah,
which we
yeah.
think is a cordyceps, but it's just it's a deer going through the snow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they clearly use that sound that they use for the.
They filmed
clickers
this
or
entire
whatever.
episode in Calgary, by the way,
It looks just
In-
like the game.
in real conditions.
Because in the game, you're
Other
using
thing,
arrows though, right?
All the actors
You use
their
arrows.
faces,
Yeah.
right?
You
get
use
that-
arrows,
you get
eventually,
that, yeah.
eventually
Look.
guns, all that shit. Like,
If
shit
anything,
like
that was one of like because she ended up like traveling with that that preacher guy in the show. She ended up like traveling with him, and they do end up coming across like clickers, and I think they take out a bloater together.
Yeah, the whole thing was.
That's right, they do.
They fight
that
off
building,
a
yeah.
few waves of infected, and that's another thing that gets them like bonded a little bit. But then
Wait, who are we
that
talking
whole
about?
In the game.
In the game?
Yeah,
Who?
David in the game.
David and Ellie.
And Ellie?
Yeah, you guys.
In the
you guys
game,
both,
though,
yeah, fight
You
off.
look at
clickers.
David in the game, and I believe in the game as Ellie, I can take him. Whereas the David in the show is a little more put together.
Really, I thought vice versa.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought vice
And
versa.
I thought the show did a great way of handling it by her just using her smarts and using her environment to get the win. You know?
Right, because that's how it was in the game
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
how
It was
it
a
is,
stealth
yeah.
mission.
Yeah.
You
I
pretty
just
much
I
have to-
thought it was great.
Because
And
he's the
and
boss, pretty
what
much,
a
at the end
and
of
of
the
course
level.
it's a boss. What a monster he is, right?
Right.
It is a boss
Well,
fight
again, that's
when
it.
you light the whole room on fire
And he's
and
just
this
walking around.
motherfucker's just walking around
How
monologuing.
he looked at the fire like a
Like,
couple
this
times,
is
like,
nothing.
Should I
Yeah.
put it out?
Right.
And then he's like, nah.
Nope.
I'm not
Nope.
gonna put
The,
this out.
the other thing that kind of took me out, and this is my second favorite episode, so let me just start by saying that. I think the first episode is the strongest. This is my second favorite of the whole season. I love this episode, but there's a couple problems. So she gets the penicillin for Joel. She doesn't know what she's doing. She gives it to him. I fully believe it would work. He recovers a little too fast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
With the
Oh yeah,
diabetes.
no, that's
I
actually
don't
that's like the
know
biggest
about him
criticism.
recovering. I think that's more of
You want to tell
he
me
has to save her, and he's like
It could
fighting
be
his
adrenaline.
demons.
I'll give you it's
You know what I
adrenaline,
mean?
and he kills the first guy. I'm okay with that because he surprised him. He probably
But he
surprised,
kidnaps two guys.
Yeah.
and he surprises those guys too. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's
But
a little.
he's a little too nimble getting up to try and get to her.
Yeah.
For sure, because in the very beginning, the first guy he takes out, he ends up falling on him
Yes.
while stabbing
Yeah.
him.
Yes.
And then he goes from that to being on his feet, holding his stomach
Yeah.
a bit. But that's how it was in the
But
game.
that's the
Like,
thing. I was waiting for him all episode to save her. I was like, how's he gonna save her? How's he gonna save her?
That wasn't it.
When the
Yes.
conclusion was she saved
Yep.
herself.
Yep.
Yes.
I was like, bravo.
And that's the other thing too. It's an
Bravo.
editorial thing. I know it's stupid, but so she kills the guy, right? And she chop him probably 30 times with that
Yeah.
cleaver.
Yep.
Then she walks out, and there's just a little bit of blood on her.
Blood on her
It would be
face.
she'd have blood all over the front of her. It would just be flying off that guy onto her. It's
Yeah.
Last time
fine.
you hacked it.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
part where she's on like the table and she grabs the like the butcher knife and just it goes into that
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah,
neck.
yeah.
That part was.
But the
that was
cool.
amazing.
As soon as he put it there, I was like, oh, you better grab that knife.
yeah.
No,
Grab
but
that knife.
but her using the infection mark was just so good because it got the two of them riled up real fast, and then she was able to make her move. Anyhow, my whole thing is like sometimes it's the be your own hero thing goes poorly or is executed badly. This was just so incredibly well done,
Yeah.
so well done.
And the touching end moment.
That's the part that got
The
me.
touching
Right,
when-
because
when he calls
you
her
ju-
baby girl.
Right,
That's
because
the
she
problem.
just left.
Oh.
She just left Evil Daddy,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, Good Daddy has arrived.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know,
And he's finally accepted the fact
yes.
that
Yeah.
it's the two of them now.
Yeah.
And what's great for this episode, for their story is, not that they were never equals, but they're on equal footing now.
Yes.
Because she saved herself, they literally on equal
Her
footing.
body counts.
Yeah,
higher.
well, not even that, but she can defend herself. He
bit
doesn't
higher.
have to make sure that she's fine in every situation now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that was like, I feel like that's something that the show has always played with as we got here.
Also,
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is like, she probably can take care of herself. You are just seeing her only as this young girl, right? Because let's be honest, he's probably constantly thinking about his own daughter,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, that was a different time and a different world. It's like, I grew up in a military camp, foster home. Like, what are we doing?
About that part where Joel had the two guys and he's getting the information of where
Oh.
she
Yes.
is, and he's
Yes.
just like at the other guy, like, it's okay, I believed him.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
With
also,
the lead
that's
pipe.
the thing. What about the evil that he committed? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't. he's done it before. We know that because
Yeah.
you know,
Well, now
they
he
tell
and
you,
well,
now they show
well, that's
you.
funny. It's in parallel to what David has to say. David talks about protecting your young, like the cordyceps, right? And that's exactly what he did. He went right back into killer mode
Well, no,
because
I think the big thing was he couldn't let those guys survive because now they've already come back once. Like, you
I
know,
mean,
you know what
sure,
I mean? They all
there's
need to
that,
go.
but also
I
I
didn't know
thought
they were cannibals at that moment.
I thought it was a good parallel to the speech about protecting your young, you know, and of course we can use that to tell ourselves that his adrenaline pumping turned him back into Monster Joel.
I mean,
you know,
In the
yeah,
video
there's
game,
that,
you
but
see
I also
Like,
What do you
No,
say?
actually, you really don't. It's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just move. You.
slower.
It's just like the show. He moves slow for maybe like a minute and a half, and then he sees people, and then you just go right in fight mode.
nice.
You know what I mean? It's weird.
It's a lot of sneaking around through that level because you play as Ellie until she gets captured.
Oh,
and then
yeah, in the storm. I just mean like as soon as he comes out of the house.
Oh yeah.
Remember when he comes out of the house and there's some like leftover people there,
Yep.
and he just smokes all of them, and that's when. Yeah, it's cool.
I mean, you don't get it in the game, but I think part of the reason I let it go, that he heals so fast is, I remember that he's a combat vet, so it's likely
He's
that
not.
in the show he is.
No, he's not. It's his brother. His brother's a combat vet.
You don't think that's his truck that they're driving at the beginning? Not Tommy's truck.
Yeah, it's Tommy's truck.
No.
Yeah, Tommy came to pick him up.
You sure?
I did.
yeah, Tommy is the one that picks
All
them
right.
up
Well
that
then,
night.
it was shitty. He shouldn't have healed so fast.
But also, we don't know what those 20 years were like for him.
Yeah. Still though.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we saw Tess. It was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's episode number 8,
I give it
guys.
10 out of 10. That's a good episode. That's
Yes,
a 10
yes,
out of
Yeah,
10.
it's 10 out of 10 episodes.
We all agree.
I give it a 9.
Excellent
I give it a
episode.
9 because I think I don't want to give 2
fucking
10s, and one
I think
one for me is a 10.
Parallel
so this is a
to
9.
every horror show that you've ever seen, every horror movie, were great. So, like the ending of Michael Myers movie where she's killing him. You know, like all of that was very much the horror. All the horror tropes were in this one, and it was done really well. So I give it.
It was all the horror tropes, including the real monsters that fell
and-
in
and the room being on
real
fire.
monsters,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And
the
then
room being on
and then-
fire. Well, that made it a
and
boss
then-
battle.
Right.
Yeah, the real monsters aren't in the.
Yeah, the real monsters don't
aren't in
wear
the show.
masks.
But
You
they're
know?
not
The
in the
real,
show this
the
time,
real
man.
monster is religion.
Calm down.
All right. On that note, next week's the season finale. You guys make sure you come back next week and watch the season finale with us. What do you think about episode
Yeah,
number
we
8?
better get your ass.
Leave
for the
a
season
comment
finale.
down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. We got the rest of the episodes of The Last of Us. Check The Last of Us playlist on our channel. And we want to thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on the Council of Comics. To the rest of you guys, we love you. Be safe out there.
Giraffes.
Giraffe.
Through chaos, I